Stephen, and thanks for having me. It's great to see such a large group today. So I am representing two organizations. So I know a lot of you in the room, and several of you know us from the Medway Community Forest Co-op, as well as the Nova Scotia Working Woodlands Trust. So I'm going to give mostly an update on the MCFC side of things, but also touch a bit on what the Land Trust is doing for mitigating HWA as well. What am I pressing? Oh,
I was going to try again.
Okay, are we good? Yeah? All right, great. Okay, just to give a little bit of an update on, for those of you who aren't familiar with our organization. So we've been at several of these conferences before. You might remember, like, oh, I thought Mary Jane left the MCFC. Well, I'm back. Turns out, so it turns out it can be kept away. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the MCFC, we are a Crown Land area licensee, and we manage 15,000 hectares in Annapolis County. So this is actually, our office is right next door at the hub, and we are a member-based for-profit cooperative that operates as a social enterprise. So we have an elected board of directors. Anyone can join. We have specific seats on the board for economic, environmental, and social values, as well as reserving seats for First Nations, and have sub-members at large, including those who represent the Woodlot owner community. We really take a multi-value approach to land management. In particular, we've been seen as leaders in the implementation of ecological forestry on Crown land. And we serve the local community in a variety of ways. As you'll see from our HWA program, we're not just doing the Crown land management side of things, we're also integrating approaches that benefit woodlot owners. I guess, next slide. Why isn't it working? Okay, so which one am I supposed to be? What am I supposed to be?
The arrow.
That?
Yeah, arrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Nova Scotia Working Woodlands Trust is a relatively new organization that was incubated through the MCFC. And we really grew this organization as a way to serve private woodlot owners and fill a gap in private land conservation. So we're a new community land trust that's really dedicated and has the purpose of preserving the working forests on the landscape. We're aiming to break the cycle of forest cover loss that's often happened through intergenerational transfer, and working with trusted local regional service providers in order to promote ecological forestry. We also provide financial incentives for landowners to participate in the program through carbon offsets. And this is really what makes us unique as a land trust, in that we don't typically ask landowners to provide an endowment when they place an easement on their property, but we actually finance it through the carbon market. And we are currently enrolling landowners that have greater than 200 acres and are interested in an easement, and you can find us next door if you're at all interested in that. So to talk a bit about the MCFC's Hemlock Conservation Program. So this program started in 2021 as a volunteer effort to help chemically treat old growth forests on Sporting Lake within the Tobeatic Wilderness area. The program has evolved into being a collaborative effort between us, the MCFC, government agencies, and conservation organizations. And we're serving as a subcontractor for the Nova Scotia Department of Environment and Climate Change, who's received funding from the federal government through the Nature-Based Climate Solutions Fund in order to execute chemical treatment of hemlocks on Nova Scotia protected areas and exceptional private woodlots. I'd like to mention huge contributions from several of our board members to get this project off the ground, including Donna Crosland, who's really been integral to building the program. So we have three primary focal points within the program. We have a strike team similar to Kevin at DNR, and we also have volunteer engagement as well as training and education. So our strike team, we have all of our current strike team members here today, so Jessica, Eddie, and Patrick. And then we also have a new team leader that will be starting later in April. And these are our boots on the ground staff that are actually deploying treatments on Crown land or on these protected areas. So we're actually provided areas through, I've included a little image of that dashboard there. So that's what we're provided areas to treat that are prioritized by Nova Scotia Environment. Our team then goes in and conducts ground truth assessments, we mark and tag trees for treatment, and then we actually go in and execute the treatments. The sites can be very challenging to access at times, and we've had some really interesting approaches to access, including regularly using things like such as canoes, as well as though there is some helicopter support if needed. So another key aspect of our HWA program is our Hemlock Heroes. So this is really a volunteer effort that is a key component to extend our reach and get more trees treated on the ground. So we have over 100 Hemlock Heroes trained to date. In 2023, we hosted several in-class and field exercises to help onboard those volunteers. And we actually have volunteers join our strike team about 2 days a week in the field. In terms of training and engagement, we're still figuring out a little bit of the details regarding how we're going to be deploying this year, but we do aim to empower external organizations and help them learn how to treat hemlocks on their own properties. So this includes landowners. We have specific offerings coming up kind of in the next couple months. In particular, Matt Miller, our operations manager, will be providing a much longer version of this presentation at the Nova Scotia Christmas Tree Growers Association meetings in Antigonish in the 40s. This month, we are releasing an in-depth YouTube video series that really walks you through how to chemically treat your trees. Donna Crosland has been a great help with this, and we're talking like 10 to 20-minute videos that actually walk you through the different types of chemicals, different types of techniques to spray trees, or inject them, and then what you kind of need in order to get certified. So that any sort of certification regarding application of pesticides, we've also received funding through the Nova Scotia Community College to provide in-class training for those who might be interested in treating a large amount of trees or starting a new business. So on our website, we have various resources for landowners, and particularly related to chemical control and determining when is the best time to treat. So you probably can't read anything on this decision key on the slide here, but you can access it via our website, and it just really shows you what to monitor in order to determine whether your trees are eligible for treatment or what type of chemical you should use. So really, evaluating an infestation on your woodlot is looking at three primary things. So the crown or the canopy density of your trees, looking at the actual HWA infestation and how severe it might be, as well as tracking new growth on the shoots of the hemlock in the spring. And we recommend considering treating old growth hemlock if you have a really exceptional woodlot or a really exceptional stand in advance of infestation. This early approach really, really helps mitigate loss in the future. So don't wait for decline. And then we're also tracking and wanted to promote the use of the iNaturalist app as a way to kind of help promote citizen science and including detections as they move across the province. So I have quite a bit to say about silviculture, those who know me. In particular, great to hear Matt kind of mention the work that we've done in the park. And we've also done quite a bit of work with the Canadian Forest Service as well, really measuring and studying how hemlocks react to, or how HWA reacts to silviculture as an approach for early intervention. And it has been kind of proven through peer-reviewed literature that thinning or the creation of small gaps in your hemlock stands to promote overall vigor and new growth can help trees withstand infestation, but it alone won't save your trees. It'll just kind of help them grow or thrive for a bit longer. There is an emphasis on the need to minimize logging damage to soils in order to minimize the regeneration of hemlock. And the real aim is here to diversify stands and increase overall resiliency. So we're aiming, let's keep these old forests or these later successional forests in that state, right? So we don't want to just cut it all down and start over, because we're going to really be losing a lot of that carbon that's stored in these forests, as well as all of the ecosystem functions that they provide. And when we're recommending removals, we're really looking at targeting unhealthy hemlocks, so hemlocks that are low vigor, poor form, for removal, and retaining higher quality resilient trees as permanent retention or for chemical treatment. So this example one, this is from Keji, so you can see a lot of the trees left on the ground. And this was an approach that was taken to remove hemlock as a priority. And then the second approach, you can't really tell from the photo, it's more of a mixed softwood forest. But this approach was actually doing a business as usual kind of case study and seeing how the hemlock will react to just, taking out a variety of trees. So there's a great resource from Harvard University that has recommendations for, that thing's about to go off. That has recommendations specifically on how to implement silviculture on your woodlot and transition your forest. So a lot of what has been seen in the States as kind of in a post-hemlock forest is a lot of intolerant hardwood, as you might suspect, as forest transitions. So this approach, keeps shade cover and allows more shade-tolerant species, so your red spruce, your white pine, to regenerate in the understory, rather than seeing, white birch, red maple kind of come up immediately after you do a more intensive harvest. So this is a much better approach to transitioning your forest and diversifying your stand rather than kind of panic cutting all of your hemlock down. So lastly, I want to mention here that the Nova Scotia Working Woodlands Trust in particular has additional funding through Environment and Climate Change to treat exceptional old growth hemlocks on private lands. So the program covers HWA treatment as well as the costs of the easement on your property and any associated costs like surveys. The caveat is that you must be dedicated to placing your property under easement, and that easement should be in place prior to the trees being treated. And this is also helping to contribute to Canada and Nova Scotia's provincial goals for protected inland land. So if you have old growth forest on your hemlock, or old growth hemlock on your woodlot, please reach out to us and we'd be happy to chat. Through this program, we are onboarding 600 acres of woodlots over the next 3 years. So I've included here some additional resources. Visit our website to find out more, and then that silvicultural guide is really, really handy if you're looking to take an adaptive approach. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.